Hello everyone, my name is Erik Vollstadt. I'm the BitNation lead ambassador, but today I'm going to present you something that I created during my master thesis, which is crowdsourcing for radical innovation projects, designing a collaborative platform based on distributed ledger technologies. So first of all, I will just give you a short introduction about what's this thesis and also my project that I want to elaborate from that is about. It appears that established research institutions and their backers are no longer able to bring about meaningful radical innovation, let alone risk the advancement of new technologies at the expense of losing short-term profits and cost competitiveness. An independent third way of conducting and financing research had to be devised to bring back science. Hello everyone, my name is Erik Vollstadt. You might know me as BitNation's lead ambassador, but today I'm going to present you the result of my master thesis, which is a platform for radical innovation. So the topic of my thesis was to create a platform based on crowdsourcing and blockchain technologies. And to just give you a short introduction to what my thesis and also my future project is going to be about is that it appears that established research institutions and their backers are no longer able to bring about meaningful radical innovation, let alone risk the advancement of new technologies at the expense of losing short-term profits and cost competitiveness. An independent third way of conducting and financing research had to be devised to bring back science back to its roots, exploring the ambiguous, the incertitude before making a new breakthrough discovery. This new method of conducting natural scientific research combines various technologies emerging from the rise of the internet, crowdsourcing and distributed ledgers, better known as blockchains. So finally, a token-based R&D platform has been conceptualized specifically aimed at promoting radical innovations and backing the researchers and investors in those. So just to give you a short overview of what kind of radical innovations my platform could promote, I pointed out, for example, zero-point energy, which is the energy that accelerates the expansion of the universe and can be found in the quantum vacuum. Or, for example, printing bioidentical meat with round 3D printers to end hunger in the world and the slaughtering of innocent animals. Furthermore, biohacking could be used to enhance human capabilities such as exoskeletons or connecting human brains with artificial intelligence to evolve into transhumans. Or lastly, I also picked the example of nanobots. So it will be possible to create nanobots that are robots at atomic level to reshape molecules to create anything from nothing, to make humans immortal by continuously fixing inner organs and cellular tissue at microscopic level, or to even allow for a completely new type of space exploration by building human clones from a molecular level on potential planets for colonization and synchronizing our digital mind files with our interplanetary counterparts. So to just to go broader into how all of this is going to be achieved, we need to know what actually crowdsourcing is. So Jeff Howe defined crowdsourcing as the act of a company or institution taking a function once performed by employees and outsourcing it to an undefined and generally large network of people in the form of an open call. So this is usually done through peer production, but it is often also just done by individuals. So the really important prerequisite for this to happen is to have this open call format and to have a large network of potential laborers. So what are the parts of crowdsourcing? So first of all, you have a crowd. This is basically all the people that are online and can potentially do this job for you, who will compete to perform a specific function that you have this open call for. Furthermore, the crowdsourcer is the person who is funding this project or who has a problem that he or she wants to be solved through the crowd. The crowdsourced task could be basically anything. It could be even defining a problem itself, or to analyze a data set, to figure out what kind of things you actually need to be done for your company. And finally, for all of this to happen, you need a crowdsourcing platform, which hosts all of these activities. So just to give a broad overview, crowdsourcing has 5 phases. First of all, you need to figure out which problem you want to be solved, if it makes sense to be solved through the crowd. And yeah, what kind of target population you need and what kind of people are able to solve this problem. In the preparation phase, you prepare the budget, the price that can be paid out to the potential laborers, and let's say for how the competition is going to be done and what happens after that. Execution phase, you need to coordinate the activities of the crowd and to keep in continuous talk with them, communications with them, to avoid wrong results and to control, let's say, the work that they're doing, so they don't end up doing completely wrong. And finally, you need to assess the results that were performed by and depending on the competition mode, prices to multiple laborers or just one successful solution, or you can even try to support all of the participants. And in the implementation phase, of course, all the things that were being done by the crowd have to be integrated into your organization, company, or institution. Going for the crowdsourcing, phases need to be realm of R&D. So I identified that the preparation phase, basically in R&D, to prepare, let's say, the analysis, you need to prepare the whole investigation that you're, and furthermore in the execution, it's mostly about analyzing data, repeating your methodology that you elaborated before, and yeah, it's mostly process of trial and error, right? Like not just in R&D, but in many other sectors of life as well. And finally, after having obtained the results of this R&D project, you need to implement them, which is most often done through intellectual property. That could be patents or other forms of intellectual property. And lastly, the crowdsourcees and the crowdsourcers in R&D are called solvers and seekers, because seekers are those that have problems and seek solutions, and solvers are those that give the solutions to the seekers. So R&D crowdsourcing, compared to usual manners of performing R&D, are very focused on solutions instead of just identifying problems. They often have a very broad diversity of solutions because anyone can participate. It doesn't have to be people from the established R&D academia or for the established field of science, but they could come from any field. And furthermore, this distant field of knowledge often brings like out-of-the-box solutions and not so typical solution proposals that were working in other fields but could be transferred to new ones. Also, it's much more cost efficient and it's very useful for high uncertainty problems. The reverse way of doing things in R&D could be problem sourcing, which is instead of looking for potential solutions for your problem, you could be the one having the scientific capabilities and look for people who have promising problems that you could be solving for them. So you have a competition of companies or organizations that yeah, have different problems, and you choose who you want to work with. And like this, you could potentially build up problem pipeline for the future, for future projects. Another model is the innovation broker model, which intermediates seekers and solvers and ensures the transfer of intellectual property rights from solvers to seekers, or let's both of them have them, depending on what the seeker is looking for. And finally, we also have open science, which is a much more, based on open source principles, based on the principles of the open source software community, and has smaller numbers of experienced scientists working in them. But the very important thing is that comparing to academia or other scientific establishments, the projects don't stop after the lead investigator has left the organization or has even died, it always continues on the web. You have all the materials and everything. It just keeps going. The peer review also never stops. You can always add comments, and you will always need to defend your position. So it's a much stricter peer review process. So having outlined all of these typical R&D methods, I want to just compare them briefly and to show how my platform that I'm evolving can mitigate these problems and let's say be a more flexible So regarding for IP rights, we can see that in ordinary R&D crowdsourcing, mostly IP rights are not protected. Solvers are just offering solutions, and the seekers can pick the solutions that they like, but they get all the solutions for free. And they could even say, none of these fit my problem, and they could use the solutions for free. So this is a huge problem. But I think I don't need to go into all of this. I should just skip to just explain what the actual platform is about. So I called my platform REX, which stands for Research Evolution Next. And the idea is to have like peers as solvers, either competing against each other or ganging up, which is the term used in crowdsourcing for building temporary teams. And to also have seekers competing for solvers who can choose for promising problems. So you have at the same time crowdsourcing and problem sourcing. And the idea is to incentivize this whole R&D economy through tokens. And yeah, just to outline the core value proposition of this platform would be to host radical innovation projects, but it could also give patent protection for those who seek it, and give more mobility to scientists who are usually stuck inside of government institutions or corporates of big corporations who are just very fixed on the products or things they work on, and they can't really allow scientists to work on breakthrough and radical innovations. So one of the things that I want to utilize for my platform is Creative Chain. Creative Chain is very interesting. It allows the IP creators not only to timestamp their authorship, copyright, and license information, but it also allows them to create customized licensing terms. That they could, smart contracts allow them to automatically collect royalties whenever their IP copyright content. Allows them to crowdfund for future contributions. Also allows them to, let's say, artificially lower or limit the number of copies that can be like through these licensing terms, but much more important, it allows for a transition from closed copyright terms to Creative Commons license. Having reached a certain limit of collected royalties from this patent, the protected or transforms into much more open formats where everyone can use it just mentioning their name. This is a good incentive, let's say, for who likes to or who believes in the principles of open source and Creative Commons, but still needs to somehow make money or have to make a living from their work. Going into the how the platform will actually work, the point of view from a seeker who has a problem and wants to be solved through the platform. So first of all, you post a problem proposal. You have different solvers giving the most accurate possible solutions for this problem, and they're competing against who will win the job. And during this process, they either can do it alone or they can team up with others who have similar solutions or seem to be compatible. And there's a 45 days limit until which has to select one of the solution proposal, or so-called robo-match will automatically match this problem proposal with one of the problem sourcing proposals, which I can show very quickly, which is from the other side, where solvers are proposing their scientific capabilities for promising problems. So an artificial intelligence could match these problems and solvers to have the most compatible collaboration between these parties. But going further, the seeker can also choose to have a REX match, which would mean that it opens up a prediction market during this contest. So anyone holding REX tokens can make bids on the solution proposals, saying which proposal he or she thinks is the most the best solution. And they can either win or lose these. They can either make a win out of this bid or they lose the tokens. So depending on how many tokens they bid in this REX match, they can get a share of the R&D budget of the seeker that he's using for this problem proposal, or the tokens are lost, but they're actually not lost, as we can see here. That the tokens lost in the REX match go into neutral sub-funds or into a decentralized R&D fund by the community for community investments, for example, to support solvers with their scientific equipment or with their problem sourcing proposals. I will also try to a robo match just from the hybrid perspective. So you have idle problem proposals that didn't find the solutions that the seekers were looking for, and you have problem sourcing proposals, and they're being automatically linked through a nearest neighbor algorithm, a KNN algorithm. Like I said before, the problem sourcing, or the view from the problem sources, is basically the same, just reverse. So they're offering their solution capabilities, and different seekers with money are offering their problems to get their capabilities. And once a seeker has chosen one of the teams, they will start the collaboration, and the R&D funds are being released through milestones through a smart contract from a multi-sig wallet to make sure that the funds cannot be abused and are also only unlocked when certain milestones are achieved. And like after meeting all of the milestones and the project has been successfully accomplished, the price is being paid out, and depending on the solution quality in the end, and the solution can be time-stamped with the patents, depending on whether the seeker, the financier, has chosen to do so or not. You could also say, I'm totally against the existence of intellectual property rights, and could say, no, I want the solution that I'm helping with, that it should be open source and usable for anyone. The royalty payments are being automatically distributed through smart contracts, like we've seen with Creative Chain. And just to give a broad overview of how the REX token is being used, so it can be used to invest into problem proposals or into problem sourcing proposals. It can be used to bid in this prediction market in the REX match. It's used to pay several things. To pay, for example, accessing these patents. It is used to for the R&D budget, and is used for certain fees, like the fees for listing a new proposal to avoid spamming, or microtasks. The winning team can also choose to crowdsource microtasks themselves. So like they can outsource, let's say, the minor task of analyzing data or gathering information. And so in the end, platform businesses can focus on exploiting their internal capacities by delegating all exploratory tasks to the crowd. R&D facilities can provide their services to global clients and make use of the decentralized R&D funds, neutral sub-funds, to obtain financial support for their ventures. So Research Evolution Next allows to circumvent governments and multinational enterprises to enable scientists to work independently on radical innovations. That's it.